Hey there, kids. We are in Halo, and you're watching LiveProg.
Hey everyone, welcome to LiveProg. I am Marcel Haster, and I'm very happy to show you and tell you something about Memento Vivere, the second album of the German-British band Haven of Echoes. This is the follow-up of their debut album, which was released in 2022, which is called the Indifferent Stars. And I missed that one, but when they released one of the songs on YouTube, I picked it up because, well, the album is being released by Construction Records. They posted a video, so I picked up on that, and I really enjoyed the song. Then I found out that there is a link between a German band called Frequency Drift, and I was like, okay, that's very interesting, so I started to listen to it. But I also started to listen to their debut album because I missed that. I was kind of curious, what does that bring? And I gotta say, that album is really good. I really enjoyed listening to it. It is self-released back then, so they didn't have a label. They are signed now, so I kind of hope that Construction Records may do also a re-release of their first album, because that was definitely worth checking out. But I enjoyed it. It's very much song-orientated, though. This one is more of a sonic, how do you say that? A sonic experience when you listen to this album. And while the first album was good, with this one, they really showed that they progressed. They progressed in songwriting, they progressed in production, they progressed in a lot of things, and they really made a very bold and very progressive album with this one. I will say that if you have heard that first album, you will absolutely love the second album. If you're not familiar with Haven of Echoes, check out the song Assimilation. There's a link here and there's a link in the description. That was the first song they put out, and I gotta say, I really loved that. That was my introduction to it, and if you like that song, you will love the album, because that is definitely a good reflection on what you can expect on this album. Like I said, it's a sonic experience. It's sometimes intense, it's very cinematic, it's sometimes fragile, sometimes it's heavy and dark, but at the same time, despite the complex writing on the album, it is a very accessible album. Although some songs might be a little bit more with a bite on it, but it's definitely a very accessible album, which is, I think, very good, because then it attracts more listeners. Lyrically, the album is also very beautiful. It's very poetic. It deals about the influence that the knowledge of our own mortality has on our lives. There are only 4 songs on the album. The one song I mentioned, Assimilation, that is actually the last track of the album. The first song, Non Som Non Curo, clocks 17 minutes. And when you listen to that song and you're about the 7-minute mark, you really have the idea of, all right, this is all right, the song is ending, it's fading away. No, it's not fading away, it's lingering on, and then you get 10 more minutes of beautiful music. And I gotta say, it's very hard to even give a description of it. It's a very bold song, it's a very progressive song. It has so much to offer musically, lyrically, so I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna say anymore. You really need to discover that song on your own. I was interested, though, in the title of the song, because, as you know, the album title is Latin. There are 2 other song titles that are Latin as well, which is the first track, Non Som Non Curo, and I looked it up. It is part of an inscription that was found on Roman graves. The full description is non som non curo. I have no idea if I pronounce it correctly, but it means I was not, I was, I am not, I don't care. And since that first song has only the second half of it, the second song title actually is I am not, I don't care. And that, again, if you think of the whole of the knowledge of your own mortality and you put that in perspective, that makes it very interesting. So definitely the lyrics are really worth checking out. The second track on the album, Ad Infinitum, which means to infinity or forevermore, which means no end to it. It's a very melancholical song, yet it's not depressing, at least the first part of it, because there's this shimmer of hope throughout it, but then halfway the song, it gets a little bit darker, it gets these haunting guitars, these ominous drums in it, but it is a very beautiful song. When I was listening to the album in preparation of this review, I was doing something else while listening to it, and all of a sudden that third song started, and I was like, hey man, what is this ominous, dark, sonic thing that came onto me, and I was like, I had my full attention to the music, and that mysterious atmosphere was there for a couple of minutes, but then the piano came in, then it became a little bit of a brighter song from there on out, but the atmosphere is really nice. The atmosphere reminded me a little bit of the band Carptree. I reviewed them many years ago, but they also had that similar kind of atmosphere in it that I also heard in this album, which is yeah, I found that really nice. When you listen to this album, there are a lot of musical surprises in it. Like I said, the songwriting is very bold, it's very progressive, it's very complex, yet accessible, and there is so much to enjoy in it. And with every spin, you hear new details in the music. There's really a lot to discover, which makes this album a lot of fun to listen to. Like I said, it's 4 songs, but you have a song of 17 minutes. The third song, which I didn't mention, It Walks Among Us, is 14 minutes, and you have 2 songs about 8, almost 9 minutes long. So it's 4 songs, but it feels like a beautiful piece of work, and the album is not depressing. That's what I noticed about it. It is dark, it has a lot of darker parts, it has melancholical parts, but overall, hope shines through it. And the one Latin part that I didn't mention is the title, Memento Vivere, and I have no idea if I pronounce it correctly again, but it means remember to live. And I think that is a very beautiful title, and that is a beautiful hope-giving title, and that shows that in the end it is not a dark album. In the end it is a bright album that really talks about hope, about, you know, better, well, hopefully better times, or even that despite dark times you still need to remember to live, that you don't let it get you down. You know, that kind of a message is conveyed in this album, and that is what I absolutely love. I mentioned Frequency Drift, the one half of Haven of Echoes, Andreas, he was in Frequency Drift, well, he wrote all the music. He plays whatever instruments the others don't play in the band. And then you have the British half, Paul Sadler, the vocalist. He also used to be in a band called Spires. On this album he does vocals and guitars, and he wrote all the lyrics. I checked out the band Spires, it was curious. That is completely different from what you have in this album. It is more in the vein of Opeth, it's progressive death metal, I would say. It's a lot of grunts in it, it's melodic stuff. I listened to the first album of this band Spires, and I gotta say that sounded really good. And what he does on Haven of Echoes is completely different. There are no grunts on it, it's all clean vocals, yet at the end of Assimilation you get a little bit more that heavier parts in it, that Spire shines through a little bit in it, which is nice. There are 2 other musicians playing on the album. Nerissa Schwartz, she does electric harp and keyboards, and we have Wolfgang Ostermann doing drums. And I gotta really mention the drums here, they bring a lot of that ominous sounds in it, which I love very much. But interestingly, Nerissa and Wolfgang also have been in Frequency Drift, so it kind of looks like it's a sort of a continuation from Frequency Drift, but different yet, because I was checking out some Frequency Drift. I reviewed them like 12 years ago, which is a long time. I reviewed one of their albums called Ghosts, and I listened to parts of it, but this definitely sounds very different. It's a beautiful album, and also, well, you've seen the artwork already in the video. The artwork's also very beautiful and really reflects the whole atmosphere and the whole idea behind the album. So I gotta say, it's a fantastic album. It's going to be out in September, so make sure you get a copy of it, listen to it, and like I said, listen to Assimilation, the track which is out on YouTube. That'll give you a really good idea of what you can expect from this album. And if that's what you like, buy this album. You will not be disappointed. It's fantastic stuff. So enjoy this very much. And if you have listened to it, and if you want to share your opinion about the album, please do in the comments below. I'm curious what you find of this music, or if you've listened to the track Assimilation, let me know what you think of it in the comment section down below. All right, enjoy the music, and see you guys with the next video. Cheers!